Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Hey everyone, welcome to today's Deep Dive. I'm really excited to jump into the work of Bell Hooks.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
We're working with a collection of her quotes. They're all about women's empowerment.
Oh, no.
Yeah. This is not just like some book of positive affirmations.
It's much more.
It's meant to inspire action,
Yeah.
to actually get us thinking
Yeah.
about how to live out these ideas. In fact, the book even has suggestions for group activities.
I think that's really cool about this book. It's not just like a theoretical or intellectual exploration, but like a call to action, Bell Hooks always emphasized that connection between theory and practice, between understanding the world and then actually changing it, working to change it.
I love that. Okay, so let's just dive right in. One of the most well-known and powerful quotes from Bell Hooks is this one. Feminism is for everybody.
Ooh, yeah, I love that quote.
Right.
It's so simple on the surface, but it just cuts through so much of the misunderstandings around feminism.
Yes.
And I think for folks who might not be as familiar with Bell Hooks, she was a truly groundbreaking thinker and activist. Her work was all about understanding how systems of oppression work, how gender, race, and class all work together to create systems of oppression. And this quote, "Feminism is for everybody. It challenges the idea that feminism is only for women, or that it's about women gaining power over men," which is a common misconception about it.
Yeah, it's so direct. It's like she's saying,
Yeah.
hey, let's get real. This isn't about, one group winning over another. It's something much bigger.
Yeah, totally. She's saying that dismantling systems of oppression benefits everyone.
Yeah.
So it's about working towards a society
Yeah.
where everyone can thrive, regardless of gender.
Yeah, have you ever heard people say things like, oh, feminism is outdated, or it's just about being angry? But this quote really kind of flips that script.
It really does. And it brings us to a really important concept in Bell Hooks' work, which is intersectionality. And that's crucial to understanding her vision of feminism.
All right. So break it down for me. What is intersectionality?
So intersectionality is the understanding that different forms of oppression, like sexism, racism, classism, they're all intertwined. They can't be separated from each other. So, for example, a woman's experience of sexism is always going to be shaped by her race and her social class.
So it's like seeing the full picture, not just like one piece of the puzzle at a time.
Exactly. Yeah. And this is why Bell Hooks believed that feminism had to be inclusive. It has to acknowledge and address all these different forms of oppression, not just one.
Okay, so I'm starting to see how this all connects back to the quote, feminism is for everybody. It's about, fighting for a world where everyone is free from these systems of oppression. It's not about one specific group. It's about collective liberation.
Yes, exactly. Collective liberation. And this is where the call to action comes in, because the book we're looking at today doesn't just want us to think about these ideas. It wants us to do something with them.
Right. Yeah, you mentioned that it even has suggestions for group activities.
Yes, it does. There are prompts for discussion, ideas for collective action. It's about taking Bell Hooks' words and turning them into real-world change.
Oh, that's so interesting. So it's not just a theoretical exploration of feminism. It's a guidebook for how to live it out.
Exactly.
In our communities.
Exactly.
That's so cool.
And for Bell Hooks, that was always the point. Her work was never meant to be confined to the academic world. It was meant to be a tool for social transformation.
Yeah, that makes me think about how Bell Hooks often talked about love as a force for social change. And I wonder how that connects to this idea of inclusive feminism.
That's a great point. That's a perfect segue. Because for Bell Hooks, love wasn't just a personal feeling. It was a powerful force for challenging oppression and creating a more just and compassionate world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll get into that.
Yeah.
So Bell Hooks saw love as this radical act, a way of resisting the dehumanizing forces of oppression. Yeah, she believed that genuine love requires a commitment to justice and equality.
So it's not just about romantic love. It's like a broader kind of love that extends to our communities, to the world around us.
Exactly. Hooks argues that love is about recognizing the humanity of others, even those who are different from us, and working to create conditions where everyone can flourish.
Yeah, I see how that ties back to intersectionality. If we truly want to create a loving and just world, we have to acknowledge how all these different forms of oppression intersect and impact people's lives.
Absolutely. And for bell hooks, this commitment to love and justice wasn't just some abstract ideal. It had to be lived out in our everyday actions.
Which brings us back to the book's emphasis on action.
Yes.
Taking these ideas about love, intersectionality, inclusive feminism,
Yeah.
and actually putting them into practice.
Exactly. One of the things that Hooks emphasized was the importance of dialogue, of coming together in community to share our experiences, challenge each other's perspectives, and work towards collective understanding.
So the group activities in this book are really about creating those spaces for dialogue and action.
Absolutely. They're about creating spaces where we can learn from each other, challenge our own assumptions, and build solidarity across differences.
I'm thinking about how bell hooks often talked about the importance of voice, of speaking our truths and sharing our stories. How does that connect to this idea of dialogue and collective action?
Well, for bell hooks, voice was essential to both personal and social transformation. She believed that speaking our truths, sharing our experiences, listening to the stories of others, it's crucial to breaking down barriers, building empathy, and challenging oppressive systems.
So it's about recognizing the power of our own voices and using them to create change.
Exactly. And it's also about creating spaces where marginalized voices can be heard, where those who have been silenced can speak their truths and be witnessed.
I imagine that can be really challenging, especially when we're talking about deeply personal experiences or perspectives that might be different from the mainstream.
It can be. But for bell hooks, that discomfort was part of the process of growth and transformation. She believed that engaging with difference, with perspectives that challenge our own, is essential to expanding our understanding of the world and ourselves.
So it's not about shying away from those difficult conversations, but rather leaning into them, even if it feels uncomfortable.
Exactly. It's about approaching those conversations with humility, with a willingness to listen and to learn, and with a commitment to creating a space where everyone feels safe to speak their truth.
And I imagine that kind of dialogue can be really transformative, both for individuals and for communities as a whole.
Absolutely. It can lead to deeper understanding, stronger connections, and more effective collective action.
This conversation is making me think about how bell hooks' ideas are so relevant to the world we live in today. You know, we're facing so many challenges: political polarization, social injustice, climate change. It feels like her call for love, intersectionality, and collective action is more important than ever.
I completely agree. Bell hooks' work offers a powerful framework for understanding and addressing these complex issues. Her emphasis on love as a radical force, on the interconnectedness of oppression, and on the importance of dialogue and collective action. It gives us tools, for creating a more just and compassionate world.
And her work reminds us that transformation starts with each of us. It's about examining our own beliefs, challenging our own biases, and taking action in our own spheres of influence.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we all have a role to play in creating a better world, and that even small acts of love, kindness, and justice can have a ripple effect.
This deep dive has been so insightful. I'm really starting to see the depth and the power of bell hooks' ideas.
Yeah, and we've only just scratched the surface. There's so much more to explore in her work.
Well, maybe we can do another deep dive sometime, focusing on a specific aspect of her thought.
I would love that. There's always more to learn. And unpack with bell hooks.
Okay, so as we wrap up this part of our exploration, what is one key takeaway you'd like to leave our listeners with today?
I think the most important thing to remember is that bell hooks' vision of feminism was one of radical love, inclusivity, and action. She believed that true liberation requires us to challenge oppressive systems, to embrace our interconnectedness, and to work together to create a world where everyone can thrive.
That's such a powerful message. And it's a reminder that we all have a role to play in making that vision a reality.
Absolutely. And speaking of making a difference, Bell hooks also had a lot to say about education as a tool for liberation. She believed that.
Education is a tool for liberation.
Yeah, that's a fascinating idea.
It really is. Bell hooks believed that education shouldn't just be about, memorizing facts or getting a degree, but she saw it as a process of critical thinking, self-discovery, and ultimately empowerment.
So it's about more than just acquiring knowledge. It's about using that knowledge to challenge the status quo and create positive change.
Exactly. Hooks argued that true education should help us to question assumptions, examine our beliefs, and develop the tools we need to dismantle oppressive systems. So she's talking about a kind of education that is transformative, both for individuals
Yeah.
and for society as a whole.
Exactly. She called it engaged pedagogy, which is a fancy way of saying that teaching and learning should be active, collaborative, and focused on social justice.
I like that.
Yeah. It's about creating learning environments where everyone feels valued, respected, and empowered to contribute their unique perspectives.
That makes me think back to the group activities we talked about earlier. Seems like those could be
Yes,
really powerful tools for creating this kind of engaged learning experience.
absolutely. They're designed to spark dialogue, encourage critical thinking,
Mhm.
and challenge participants to apply bell hooks ideas to their own lives
Yeah.
and communities.
This has been such an enriching deep dive. We've explored so many facets of bell hooks thought, from her famous quote, "Feminism is for everybody," to her ideas about intersectionality, love as a radical force, the importance of voice, and the transformative power of education.
It's amazing how all of these ideas are interconnected, how they build on each other to create this powerful vision for a more just and compassionate world.
It really is. So as we wrap up this exploration of bell hooks' work, what's one final thought you would like to leave our listeners with today?
I think the most important takeaway is that bell hooks ideas are not just theoretical concepts. They're meant to be lived out,
Yeah.
to be put into action. In our everyday lives, she challenged us to be critical thinkers, to be agents of change, and to use our knowledge, our voices, and our actions to create a world that reflects our values of love, justice, and equality.
That's a beautiful message, and I think it's the perfect note to end on. So until our next deep dive, keep those words of bell hooks in mind. Challenge yourself to think critically, to love radically, and to act boldly, because the world needs your unique voice and your unwavering commitment to making a difference in it.
We rise from the shadows and dance in the light, unlocking our power, igniting the night. In this deep dive we find strength in our voice, every woman a leader with dreams and a choice. Stand tall and proud, we're breaking the mold, with hearts full of fire, our stories get told. Together we soar on wings wide and free. The deep dive calls to you, come join and you'll see. With passion we conquer, each mountain we climb, an unstoppable force in rhythm and rhyme. In this podcast we shine like stars on the rise, uniting our spirits, breaking the ties. Stand tall and proud, we're breaking the mold, with hearts full of fire, our stories get told. Together we soar on wings wide and free. The deep dive calls to you, come join and we'll see. Come join and see. With passion we conquer, each mountain we climb, an unstoppable force in rhythm and rhyme. In this podcast we shine like stars on the rise, uniting our spirits, breaking the ties. Stand tall and proud, we're breaking the mold, with hearts full of fire, our stories get told.